It's your host, Holly, and it's time for a little teaser talk. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Teaser Talk, where we bring you real conversations with the artists behind the music that you love. Today's episode is a special one. We've got Phil from Armored Saint joining us today, a band that's been holding it down in heavy metal for decades, staying true to their sound while continuing to evolve in all the right ways. And the timing could be better. Armored Saint is gearing up to drop their 9th studio album, Emotion Factory Reset, out on May 22nd through Metal Blade Records. We're talking new music, the mindset behind the record, and what keeps the fire burning after all these years. Bill,
Yes.
welcome to Teaser Talk. I'm super stoked to have you here.
Hello, Holly. Good to have me, and good to have me.
Well, it
Great
is
to
good to be happy too.
good to be here, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I'm super excited to talk about this new album. So let's just get into it.
Sure.
Emotion Factory Reset is a killer title. What does that phrase mean to you personally? And how does it reflect where the band is at mentally right now?
I think the whole world kind of is in chaos, and it has been for a long time and stuff. And it kind of needs an emotional factory reset. And I think choosing peace over chaos is important for everyone, in life and stuff, and to live a fulfilling life. And I think that's kind of what it represents to me. Where the title came from is, you would be surprised where the title came from, but it's an idea that a phrase I took from watching a murder trial and stuff. So it was,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so now I'm curious. What murder trial was this? Can we share?
Okay, it was a murder trial where Taylor Business is her name. She dismembered her boyfriend's head and put it in a bucket. And while she was on trial, she got into a fight with the lawyer. And the commentator says, "Looks like she could use an emotional factory reset button."
Oh,
It's like, okay, that's something I've never heard before. So I gave that idea to John. I said emotion factor reset, and then he used it in a lyric for one of the songs, Close to the Bone. And when it came time for us to choose a title for the album, nobody can come up with anything better.
yeah.
So so John liked Emotion Factor Reset, and he goes, Phil, I actually like what you came up with, Emotion Factor Reset, and maybe that could be the title of the album. And sure enough, we couldn't come up with anything different and stuff, and it started to grow on us, and that's what it became
Here we are.
the
And
name of
here we
the band.
that is awesome. Yeah, it's a good old control alt delete, like you said. Right now in this period of time, I think the world can most definitely do a factory reset for sure.
Right. Yeah.
So after nearly 4 decades as a band, what still excites you guys about creating music and how does that energy show up differently on this record?
I think it's just the act of creating something is unto itself the joy, you know, to be able to create something and to collaborate. For instance, on this record, John, while we were on tour with Queensryche, and was giving him like 50 ideas for song titles. One of them he did pick. It was Buzzkill. He actually said, "Hey, I'm open to getting like lyrics, And
Yeah.
really, because he usually doesn't say that. You know what I mean? He's the singer, but he was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, then I gave him some ideas for lyrics and stuff, and he actually used some of my lyrics on like the song Moonshot and Close to the Bone, Not on Your Life, and Buzzkill. So
Wow.
I actually got writing credit for that, and that's one of the things that I'm proud of this album, alongside of my guitar playing. But I think what keeps it exciting and still going is the playing, the music, and the people that we play with. Because when we get into a room together and play, it becomes the music of Armored Saint, and it's still pretty much a thing that we all love.
I love that. Now, you mentioned Close to the Bone. That song, that single hits hard both musically and emotionally. What's the story or mindset behind that track?
Well, John was talking to Tracy Vera, which is Joey's wife, and he mentioned that she says that sometimes Joey holds things close to the bone,
Mm.
and that kind of sparked that title and the theme of that song. So that's how
Yeah.
they started. Yeah.
I love hearing like all of these. I mean, obviously every music you guys create is gonna be special, but I love how, like, each thing has, a uniqueness that you guys are bringing in and tying to this album, so I'm super excited. I can't wait for May 22nd, so if I could hit that fast forward button, I wish I could, but until then, we are gonna keep talking about it so that fans can be super excited about it. So, I'm curious because there's always been a balance in Armored Saint between aggression and melody. Did you learn into one side on this album or the other? Was it more about refining the signature blend?
I think the blend, it just comes naturally and it's organic. We didn't use AI to write lyrics or anything like that, but it's all organic and just comes from the spirit of who we are as people and stuff like that. And the integrity of the music is probably the most important thing that we hold true to. And Armored Saint has its own like entity and it's kind of like a way of being in certain ways, aspects of the music. It's like its own Armored Saint music and stuff. I mean, some bands just like are great and probably very successful with their formula and stuff. And I think our formula is being able to mesh a lot of different styles and come up with our own and our own form of metal, which is Armored Saint music.
I love it. That's awesome. It's interesting though too with AI and I geek out over a lot of technology like tech stuff like automations, website, all that stuff. But I do think that there's a time where we also need AI, like actual intelligence. And there is that I think there's a very common it's very easy just to be like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to click a button and have it done for me without having to lift a finger, other than I guess the finger to hit enter. But when it comes to that, too, you start losing yourself and then everyone starts sounding the same. So kudos to you guys for, holding that in a world that's very tempting to hit the easy button on. You guys have been through and seen multiple eras of metal come and go. So I'm curious because like we had just said with AI and people leveraging that from anything from songwriting to producing to all that good stuff. Has your songwriting evolved? Like, how has your songwriting evolved without losing that core identity that you guys have developed as your unique metal sound?
Well, I think in the beginning, our songwriting was all five of us together in a room and writing songs like that. And then John would write the lyrics. I think on Lesson Well Learned, I came up with my crying for leaving is all misconceiving. It was like the only lyric I ever contributed back then, back in the early '80s. But now it's just a collaboration of all of us inputting our ideas together, and it has changed a lot. Especially with technology. For
Mhm.
instance, you could just send an MP file and say, "This is the rhythm. You need to learn it." Because we're going to go into the studio and da 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 and stuff like that. And so we all like learn our parts and stuff, and then we go into the studio and just try to nail it, as best
Mhm.
we and stuff. So that's changed for sure and stuff. But on this record, we actually got together for one song called throwing caution to the wind, and where we basically did it old school. We got together at a studio, and all five of us inputted a little bit to come up with this song, you know, and that's kind of unusual about that song is that we all got into the studio when we wrote it.
I'm
So
gonna have to, like, listen to that song with that thought process, like, that in the back of my mind so I can see the difference or how it's, uniquely blended than the other one. So that's a very good you're giving away a lot of good nuggets here. I'm super excited about this. This is a good conversation.
have you heard
Okay,
the album?
yeah, absolutely. I'm
Oh, okay, cool.
super yes, absolutely. I'm super excited because it's listening to music to me, like the first time like listening to it, it's like you have your own definition or meaning to it. But then speaking to, the artist and hearing the stories behind it, it makes it even it's more of an emotional bond to it. I know that sounds probably crazy, but hearing that story and hearing like your guys' effort and how you guys all came together and collaborated and the different pieces that came together I think it's always very fascinating. It makes it like listening it to the next time, it makes it sound and hit differently in a good way.
There's another little tidbit about this song, "Throwing Caution to the Wind." We were on tour with Queensryche, and John was saying something, and then I walked into the conversation, and then he goes, "It would be cool if you and Jeff get together and write a song or something." And then I went, "Okay." So I took my guitar to the back of the room, and I came up with the chords that actually became throw caution to the wind, you know? So I wrote that day and while I was on tour. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a little interesting tidbit for that song.
That is super awesome. So you guys are working with Metal Blade again on this release. How has that relationship shaped the rollout and vision of Emotion Factory Reset?
Well, Brian Slagle was there from the very beginning of Armored
Mhm.
Saint, and just it's incredible that he was able to like channel his love of music and do like find these bands like Metallica, Rat, Armored Saint. You know, even Marty Friedman was in one of the Metal Massacre tours and stuff, and all a lot of these artists became something. And one of the bands that became the biggest band, heavy metal band of all time, Metallica, was worked with Brian Slagle from the very beginning, and now Brian is still part of Metal Blade, but now it's run by Tracy Vera, who's married to Joey Vera and stuff. And we were very thankful and appreciative of everything Metal Blade has done for Armored Saint and helped because they've gone, you know, and helped us in ways that many bands don't get, you know. But I think the relationship is still strong and good, and hopefully this album, you know, does well, you know.
I love it. So, speaking of like the new album and everything, you guys have built a loyal fan base over decades. How do you think fans are going to immediately respond, or how do you think they're going to immediately latch onto when it comes to this record?
I think they're gonna love it. They're gonna be surprised, you know, because there's some songs in there that are a bit of a surprise. It's like Buckeye, you know, has a slide guitar in it, which Joey played slide guitar, Jeff did the solo, and I played a little slide at the very end. So it's a unique song in the fact that Joey, Jeff, and I all played slide guitar on this one song, you know, that deals with family that John wrote about his daughter, you know. So it's very heartfelt, and I think they're gonna enjoy the heavy stuff, and they're gonna enjoy the more off the wall kind of stuff, and it's a cool album, and I think they're gonna be really, really enjoying it, you know, and listen to it for many times because it's gonna take a couple of listens. It's not just you're not just gonna get it right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, like that first time you listen to it, it's one way, and then it just slowly builds upon the emotion and the impact of the music
Yeah.
and how it hits. That's
And it
awesome.
has an emotional factory reset to your head.
There it is. There's the buzzword. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys have always had raw honesty in your music. Do you approach songwriting on a more personal place now than you guys did earlier in your career?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's still the balance of it all. I mean, songs have to be personal, and sometimes the more personal, you're kind of like putting your soul out there, you know, and
Mm,
and hoping that somebody latches on and it's go, hey, this song is about me, you know. But
yeah.
we all have, you know, emotions and stuff, and what really hits is when you can make someone feel something, you know, when they're listening to it and it's heartfelt and it's like and then when the lyrics come in and it's like very emotional and in a good way, or it could either make you mosh, it could make you move, it can make you think about your daughter, or it can make you you know, think that the world's gonna end and I might as well, you know, kick ass and you know, drive really fast or something. No, just kidding.
100% with you. Probably more the passenger seat. I'm not sure about driving
I,
that.
I was joking. I was joking.
That's awesome. Well, touring alongside a new release always brings life to the song too. When we talk about emotions and connections, listening to it when someone's in a headspace, whether they're by themselves with a group of friends or, driving, traveling, wherever it is, it's going to be kind of like that mindset that they're in and how they consume it. But of course, whenever fans experience music live, I think there's a different kind of a bond or a connection that happens with the music. So, how do you envision these tracks translating live? And are you especially excited to play a specific one?
Well, we just played April 19th at the Rainbow. Have you ever been to the Rainbow?
I love the rainbow. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they have the parking lot, you know, it's like a backyard party. We played it.
Mhm.
We played with Ollie Guns and Pentagram and Alien Ant Farm where Corey Feldman was there and he was like doing the Michael Jackson dancing. thing with them. But what was the question? I forgot.
Sorry, I'm like alienating it forward, like talk about the rainbow and yeah, let
Oh,
me rewind back a little bit. So how do
yeah.
you so are there specific songs that you're excited to play on this album?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I was saying. So when we played the rainbow. Okay, now I'm
Yep.
coming back to what we played the rainbow. We played Close to the Bone for the very first time, like ever, you know what I mean? And it went really well, and I think we're gonna play Close to the Bone, Every Man, and Moonshot, 3 songs from the new album. And have you seen the video Moonshot?
You know what? I haven't had the chance to watch it yet, so
Okay, check out the video
I
Moonshot,
most
it's really cool.
definitely will. And
Yeah, yeah,
everyone listening in, I will make sure to link it to the show notes too, so you guys can also check it out because it does. I'm super excited to check it out for
yeah.
sure.
So I think these songs are gonna go very well when they check them out and they listen to them. And it went really good when we played Close to the Bone for the very first time. So I would say that it's gonna rock your world.
Well, I was super excited. I'm gonna have to keep an eye when you guys come closer, and if not, hey, I think in this last month I've gone to 3 different states to see shows, so I'm not shy to taking an airplane somewhere, so I'm gonna have to most definitely catch these tracks live. I'm super excited about that. So, another question for you is metal has evolved massively since Armored Saint started. What's your take on the genre now, and where do you feel like Armored Saint fits into it today?
Well, I almost feel like things are getting faster and harder, and just like look at me, I can play a million notes a minute. You know what I mean? But I think what sets us apart a little bit different is that we have a groove, and momentum in the rhythm and stuff. And that never ends, that the groove and the rhythm of the music is going to be everlasting. It's like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, everlasting gobstopper that never ends. And I think that's what Armored Saint represents, and it's still a part of the music of today. And I think music's getting actually harder and faster, and stuff. And it's evolving the way it is, and I just accept it for what it is. You know what I mean? There's no judging or anything about it. It's just like I enjoy some of that stuff too. It's all good. I love all kinds of music, and you know I love playing. And Armored Saint is still in there, 2026. Rocking and rolling.
Well, now I have to ask the question of what's a song that if someone was to pick up your Apple Music, your Spotify and hit play, what's a song or an artist that somebody would be surprised that you listen to?
Song or artist, I would say, well, Steely Dan, but I also like Amy Winehouse.
The Amy Winehouse. That's seriously like the best way for me because like I'm always on the go. The best
Mm.
way for me to like just to decompress is open a bottle of wine, cook it's like a home cooked meal. So whether it's like duck or like a nice pasta dish, something, and
Nice.
then I always take Amy Winehouse vinyl and put it on and I just listen to a vinyl while I just like bring back
Sure.
myself down to earth.
Yeah,
So I'm on the same page when it comes to Amy Winehouse with you. That's
yeah.
awesome.
I
Okay,
love
so talented and so tragic that,
yeah,
her life was taken too soon, I feel,
yeah.
for sure. So last question for you. Now, as you know, this is teaser talk, so we love to leave our episodes with a good teaser of what fans can, get excited about or be on the lookout for. So is there something that we could share with the fans that maybe Armored Saint has up their sleeve outside of the new record, of course, for the rest of 2026 or maybe even 2027?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We have we're actually talking right now with a band that's from the West Coast, that we're gonna have a co-headlining tour in the fall, and it's coming up. And I can't say much about it, but
Yeah.
that's a teaser, right?
That's a perfect teaser. That is the perfect teaser for sure. So everyone listening, you guys got to make sure to be keep your eyes peeled on all the band announcements, and let's see who is the mystery West Coast band that they're headlining with. Well, Phil, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time. Factory Emotion Factory Reset is shaping up to be something really powerful. And it's super awesome to get the opportunity to go dive deeper into that album with you. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, hanging out with us, letting the fans know a little bit and seeing a little bit inside that awesome creative brain of yours. So I appreciate your time and thank you. Thank you so much for being on Teaser Talk.
Thank you, Holly. Have a great one.
You too. Thank you.
Teaser Talk. Listen to it. Rock and roll.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Teaser Talk. Head over to teasertalk.com to subscribe so you don't miss out on another episode. Until next week, keep rocking.